Hello YouTube and welcome to another Tactical Idle entry video. This one is on the topic of home defence, and this is going to be a little different I think from most of the other people on Tactical Idle because this is a British video and so it concerns British self-defence laws. And these aren't as horrible as you may have heard. There's lots of guff talked about British self-defence laws, the absolute erosion of all right of Englishmen to defend themselves, the death of Englishmen's home is his castle, although in this case it's trailer is my castle. And on the whole, these are a mixed bag of what is true and what is not true. And to be quite honest, quite often lawyers disagree on what is and isn't true of those stereotypes. So it's worth looking up below. I'll link to some articles below, some legal documents concerning various offensive weapons and home defence statutes, and I'll be linking to a rather good website I discovered as well. The gist of it, as far as I can gather, being conservative and not declaring one way or another on things that I consider contentious, is that self-defence in England bears a lot of similarities to American law, which you may be familiar with, but then those familiar with American law know exactly how much it varies as well. British law, as far as I can see, has the concept of reasonable force at its centre, which is tricky because reasonable force has changed as juries have changed and as judges have changed over the years. And because of our legal system of precedents, if a precedent is cited, even if it was not perhaps as applicable to your scenario as the other person in the case would like to have it, you can get done for this, which is a little tricky. You see cases in the English paper where things really haven't happened the way you would expect under the legal system. Either way, someone getting away with something that is self-defence doesn't seem like self-defence, and someone getting done for what is obviously a self-defence situation. Both of those happen. There are a few things that are important, which is use of weapons, use of pre-planning, and, to be honest, quite a lot of luck when it comes to court cases. It's really quite, no one would be able to say for certain what defensive action couldn't get you done, considering the historical legal precedents that have gone before. On the whole, responding instantly without thinking about it or pausing is an important factor. If you have a chance to prepare and select a weapon, then that you are at a disadvantage. But on the other hand, there is a legal precedent for a man in a long-term disastrous situation to be perfectly allowed to make and manufacture firebombs, Molotov cocktails, to throw from his home in case it was invaded by, I believe the situation was a lot of rioting going on outside. So this has become the legal precedent that if you just happen to grab something, say your cricket bat, your hockey stick, maybe your lacrosse stick, whatever you've got, your sports equipment, or a vase, or anything handy about, some tools that you've left out, something which I know is just a little project tool you keep working on things, or just something you haven't got somewhere else to store it and it's just the closest thing to hand. If you then take that and use that without thought, because it's simply the closest thing to come to hand to defend yourself in case of necessity, then that generally is covered under the legal situation. But planning ahead, obtaining weapons, stashing them about your house, for example, which is perfectly fine and dandy for many American laws, and to be quite honest, I'm not getting into my opinion on these laws in this video. I will link below to my videos on UK knife laws and my opinions video to see how I try and keep descriptions of these laws and my opinions of them separate, and I usually fail. So on the whole, UK self-defence law is not as bad as people think. As long as you are acting in what you think is the best scenario, in what you think is legitimate circumstances, you do not have to be infallibly right. You just have to have good cause and justification for thinking that your actions are right and good. You will then have to trust a jury of your peers to agree with you, which is a tricky thing. but it's why all good people, when they get called to jury duty, should do their very best to uphold the law and do what they think is right. So that's been my video, just a little bit talking about home defence in the UK. I haven't gone into what I suspect many other tactical idle entries will, which is their favourite shotgun for home defence, their favourite pistol for home defence, the weapon that they're using. They'll probably have them nicely mounted up on the wall behind them, all shiny and nice, but I'm afraid just under the UK law that's not advisable for someone to go around suggesting that they do that sort of thing. Because in a home defence situation I would only ever act using reasonable force with the direct situation impinging on me. I'd never pre-plan any sort of violent or aggressive actions against that. That wouldn't be considered reasonable. Thanks very much, YouTube. Have a good one, Tactical Idol.